Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33 teachings for your past, present, and future. Good morning, everyone. It is the 24th of July here in Auckland, New Zealand. It is a crisp, cold morning, but we are here and it's a new week. Now, if you're listening to this on the Beacon app, please don't forget to share. Let people know the app exists. We even have meditations in Spanish and in Mandarin. If you're listening to this on Spotify, let people know it exists, share, tag, and also on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome to all the new listeners. We've got, because of the podcasts with Frank Alaridi and Shaman Durek, we have had a huge number of people emailing and new app members, which is fantastic. So I thank you so much for all of you being here. Every Monday in New Zealand, which is a Sunday if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I do a 20-odd minute soul progression lesson that I tune into the energy of the week about a month before the actual month we're in, and then I break it down every week so that you have something to focus on, so that life isn't aimless, that you know that there is a purpose and a greater lesson to your experiences from a soul progression point of view. So last week, we were moving from this energy of deprivation to prosperity. And it's really interesting because I shared on my story a situation that happened to me personally where it was about basically someone trying to deprive me of what I'm entitled to, and someone that doesn't know me very well. And I was thinking, this is interesting. So how am I meant to get my freedom from this person so that I can prosper? And so we came up with a solution. But I brought it back to all of this is actually heading towards more freedom. This is why we're moving away from the victim energy, because when we are victims for long periods of time, of course, everyone's entitled to have a pity party. I do too. But it's how long do you stay there? The veil is so thin at the moment in terms of the spiritual veil, in terms of guidance and getting messages. Now, I want to tell you what I have been up to for the last few days. Now, my life started to really change when I was about 28. I'm sure if I had an astrological reading, there will be some shifts planetary-wise for me. And I moved out of a home that I own, and I remember going through this process of hiring a skip. Now, for those international listeners who are listening, a skip is a big giant bin. And I remember purging all of the things that I had to get rid of before I moved out, rented out that house and moved out. Now, what was left over was stored into a mobile storage unit. And I haven't looked in that mobile storage unit since I was about 28 or 29. And that has been put away in storage, monthly payment every month. And so we made a decision that it's time to actually clear out the box. And I have to admit, I needed to get some pep talks from close friends because it was an overwhelming thought to have to look through all of that stuff. Anyway, the stuff all arrived and filled my entire lounge and my hallway. And so the purging began. And what I realized when I was doing it is that this was a complete time capsule of my life at that stage. And this may sound morbid, but those of you who know me and are on the path, death is an illusion. Like, we've got these bodies, but what is eternal is our soul. And so I went into the clearing of the storage unit with the mindset that I am dead. What would be worth keeping? What does anybody want to see of me? When I was looking through that box, all I was thinking was this girl at this age was wanting freedom. There were like literally pads and pads of quotes. There were about 6 different vision boards. There were poster paper. And I used to do this. I used to sit in my garage and because I used to sleep in my garage because I couldn't afford to pay the mortgage on my own, so people were sleeping upstairs in the rooms and I was sleeping where the car should be. And I sit in my garage and I would, on poster paper, write out financial plans. How much do I need to earn for my dream life? What is it that I want to be doing? I found my first business card ever. And those of you who know the story, I always wanted to have my own business, and I had someone, my friend's friend actually, create business cards for me, and all it said was consultant. I didn't know what I was consulting, and I'd go to networking events and tell people I was a consultant, and got my first client. And this is not spiritually related client, this was for marketing at that time. And so this whole box was a tribute to Gaia before Soul 33. And I realized that I had been depriving myself of truly letting that old person go to fully embrace and prosper in who I am, because the energy was still sitting there as this dense thing, and I'm paying money towards it, going, here, I'm going to fuel that. I'm going to fuel that even more, and now it's gone. And so, yes, I'm left with some things in my living room, but the majority of it has been donated, recycled, thrown away. And it really has put me out of that deprivation energy into, I can prosper now knowing that I don't have that there. When my body actually does die, nobody will have to be looking through all that stuff. It was just so business oriented, documents and documents, self-help books, all kinds of things. And I was thinking, wow, I'm so proud of that girl to have moved from that stage into where I am now, which is who I really am. And I'm sure as I move through life, things will change and perspectives shift. But I just found it interesting that, because this wasn't planned this way, it just was, we're getting the box, it's coming, and we're going to have to sort through it. That it happened in that week of, I'm no longer deprived anymore, deprived of money that was going towards it, deprived of that energy of that girl who really wanted to achieve and be something. And I could see that I really wanted to help people. That was always on my vision boards and in my journal entries. But all of that has been discarded now so that I can fully move on. And I needed help to do that, because last week is about getting professional help. I couldn't drive the trailer to the dump, and I couldn't get the truck to, everything was assisted. And I know that as I was clearing things out, I could feel the energy of who that was at that time. And I knew now that the foundation was really being set for a new path. Really fascinating week for me in terms of the personal movement. And, we're moving away from depriving ourselves of what we really deserve. And we're here to prosper. We are here in this lifetime to prosper. And we had the new moon last week. And we set intentions to move away from things, people, places that haven't allowed us to grow, which is like having things in your life, things or people that don't allow you to be who you want to be. So for me, it was very tangible things that had to go, but I could feel the emotional and energetic shifts, because there were so many photos in there. And I realized, looking at photos of like my ex-partner, for example, I felt absolutely nothing. And I knew that, I don't need this in my life anymore. I keep one or two of travels, but for that particular relationship, for me personally, it was done. And it was so interesting, because as we move through the week, relationship energy is very prevalent at the moment. And I know that Venus is in retrograde. And so relationships are breaking up, they are coming together. And interesting to be coming across photos of a previous relationship that I was in for 7.5 years, and looking at the pictures and feeling absolutely nothing, like, I can actually let these all go and move on. So it was really a letting go. Even though it was a new moon, it was a letting go to be able to prosper. The grounded card came up when I pulled it in the middle of the week. Now, those of you who are new here, you can shuffle the digital oracle deck on my app and listen to the brief guidance around what you might need to consider because of that card that's popped up for you. I pulled for the collective, the grounded card, because we spend so much time thinking about what we want, when we want it, and how we're going to get it, that we cannot be grounded in the present to accept the manifestation. And it has been with this new moon where the path is really beginning to unfold in front of us. And we need to look at the path right now to see what is next. Not look above, not look sideways, but just look at what is in front of us. Like for me, I had no choice but to be very, very present in looking at what are in these boxes. How does it make me feel? And I knew that this was part of the next step. So we're being shown where to walk, and we don't need to be asking all the questions and looking everywhere else but in front of us right now, and trusting in the guidance and with the path. This card of the grounded card came up for us to remind us that we can trust the path and we can be grounded in where you're at. And you are not being deprived of anything anymore, because everything that was depriving you is coming up to be cleared. And when we look at, wanting all the answers all at once, spiritual work, there's a mystery to it. Life is a mystery. It's a miracle. And we have to be patient when we're looking for the answers to understand why things happen as they are. For me, it's taken years to figure certain things out that I've been told years ago. We're not meant to be looking and analyzing how is this going to happen. This is why the grounded card is trusting what is unfolding. And hurdles in the way, sure, they're really confusing, but what's the code that's being deciphered here? Being patient, being grounded in the moment, stepping forward with trust, taking the guidance as it's revealed. Because to prosper is to grow from your current environment, to ground and surrender to the steps that unfold. To prosper is to know that you are being guided out of deprivation to the bliss of limitless potential. Like, I was being held back by all of this stuff energetically and physically, but not anymore. It's being processed and sent to where it needs to go. And I could clear the energy of the past. Just imagine being able to trust the steps ahead. And that's what we're being asked to do. Your relationships, not limited just to your intimate relationships, are beginning to change, because you need to either prosper on your own or together, working together with the professional or with you or whoever it is that you're relating to. I'm completely leaving deprivation behind and moving to this place of prosperity, which means freedom. So before I go into this week's energy, remember, I'm always here for you, but I am only one person. I know that people wait a long time to see me. We have people flying in from the States, London, Australia, that are booked in early next year. There are ways to see me sooner. Soul ceremonies, you get all of me. I only see one person when I see a face-to-face client, and it takes me a couple of days, sometimes longer, so sometimes a week, depending on what it is I'm processing for you. If you want a soul ceremony session, Kieran is the person to ask. Ascension seekers, you're not on the main wait list, you get to see me sooner. Emergency sessions, I'm doing what I can right now, so I do open up emergency sessions if I feel like I can give, depending on what I'm having to process from clients before. So if you just put yourself on the waiting list, we will open things up, and it's always the right timing. For more immediate responses, mini readings. Now, mini readings are 3 PDF questions, so you can ask 3 questions. Now, you're not going to get heartfelt, emotional responses from mini readings. They're literally like, should I do this? What do you think about this? They're just, I need some sort of guidance around this. So just remember that when it's a mini reading, you literally get an answer to your question or guidance to your question. And I always will come from a soul progression perspective. There are soul magics, which are spells. Okay, so aligning or clearing, these have an amazing, powerful, accumulative effect. So those can be done immediately. Personalized meditations, I love doing these for you. They take me about an hour and a half. I infuse energy in there. You can shift your energy, align, listen to the support that I'm going to give you intuitively with whatever topic you want. Most people leave it up to me to decide what it is that they want, but it's completely up to you. And obviously the app. The app is only $60 per year. I am the one that's here doing all of this every week, every weekend, setting your homework. It is the only app in the world where there is a sought-after medium and healer that is there setting homework for your soul progression. And so if you need help with renewing or becoming a member, we do the app memberships outside of the app platforms, because otherwise I need to be charging a lot more for app membership, and I want it to be affordable to everybody. This is why I have different tiers of how you can see me, whether you want to see me in person or you want to have an app membership or a mini reading. There are different affordabilities, because it's important for me to make this affordable for everybody to progress your soul. All of those things, any of that help, Kieran is the person to ask, soul33@gmail.com, or go to the website www.soul33.com if you want to read any information or whatever, but please go to Kieran. I don't respond or look at any social media messages asking for appointments and things because I don't actually handle my appointments. Kieran does all of that. And also I don't like to know who's coming when, what your situation is. Kieran just gives me the names of people when it's the day. So she will help you. Any IT issues, she communicates directly with the IT team. We have developers that are full-time working on our app. It's a big job, but I'm here and I'm committed to you. So this is why I want to be able to help you in different ways. Okay, so moving on to this week's energy. I cannot believe we are in the final week of July. The final week of July 2023. So as we move into the new week, the last week of July, your Monday mantra is, a loss is bridging the space to grow. A loss is bridging the space to grow. Now, there's a lot going on with relationships right now. People are breaking up, getting back together, connecting deeper than before. This is a week of romance or connection and or connection. I know a lot of people say not to get back with your ex, but spiritually, we're probably all with our exes from lifetimes before. While I'm not saying this is a personal recommendation, I have seen and also am in a successful situation where there's been a breakup and getting back together again. So that does happen, and I've seen it personally in my life. I've seen it with friends. I've seen it with clients. So if you are considering getting back with an ex, this is where you will need to get professional help or look at what are the issues, can we actually move on, all of that stuff. So while this is not a recommendation, I am purely tuning into the energy that I was given by my spirit guides and my intuition on what I need to tell you about that could be coming up for you this week. The energy is extending, underlying all of what I said, to disconnection or reconnection. You're either disconnecting from something to be able to not be deprived anymore, to be able to prosper, or to reconnect in a really deep connection, because a loss is bridging the space to grow. So those of you who are diligent followers and listeners, you will know that my Monday mantras tell a story. Every week something links to the other. So what is linking for you this week based on what I'm telling you? If you've been struggling in a relationship or struggling to get a relationship, the opportunity here is to look at what is going right rather than what isn't. We are so easy to jump the gun and be like, this is not working and this is going wrong. Our energy needs to focus on where you want it to go. Everything is an affirmation. Everything is a mantra. Nothing is ever really lost. So that's why I'm using the word a loss is bridging the space to grow, because it's never really a loss. It's all a gain. We just perceive it as a loss. Even when someone dies, it's like a loss for us and our emotions, but it's actually a gain for that person to be liberated. It's actually a gain for us also, because when grief is processed, it can open us up to the most beautiful connection to the universe and to the relationships we do have. Nothing is ever a loss. The ego only says it is. So if you've broken up or are alone, what bridge is being built for your growth? What bridge is being built for your growth? If you are in a committed relationship or want commitment, you're being asked to drop your protective mechanisms. And let me tell you, when I look back and think about, whatever was going on in my life, and I think, if he wasn't doing that or she wasn't doing that, I really now can see how I was such a massive contributor with my defensiveness and protective mechanisms that I'd put in place that made that person respond to me in that way also. It takes two. So we often think it's the other person, but we are attracted to that on some level. So what is it for you? What's the loss here in terms of you're depriving yourself of something because you've got these protective mechanisms up? Progress and expansion is part of this week, which is a great thing. And you might have that feeling of, I'm here again, a deja vu type of feeling, which is what I'm having looking at all the stuff in my lounge right now, that the personal items that I'm not throwing that need to sort through, like the photos and all of that, I'm here again, that feeling of like, oh, here's 28-year-old guy, or between 25 and 28-year-old Gaia. Travel or traveling to recharge is also on the card, so you might want to look at how that comes up for you. It could be just a road trip, a day trip. It could be you're away somewhere or going away somewhere. In the spaces of what feels like a loss, it's time to investigate and discern what this loss is asking of you, okay? This is a week of overcoming obstacles and recommitting to love and your relationships, even with yourself. You are beginning to overcome areas where you have felt defeated, where you have felt deprived. You know, July has been a very fascinating month for me. It's been a month of holding space. It's been a very nurturing month, but it may not be nurturing in the sense of warm and cuddly. It's nurturing things that needed to be addressed. There has been a strong theme of looking after what is most important in terms of your priorities. So those people who have had big things happen, traumatic things, breakups, what has been the priorities for you? A lot has been revealed in terms of where to go and what to do next, because we are really in the thick of the second half of the year. It's a natural time to reevaluate. I've already written the brief August forecast. It is a big month cosmically. There is a lot going on. And so we're really preparing ourselves with this week's homework to make that transition into August and direct the relationships where we need them to go. Making decisions this month that are thoroughly felt in your entire being as what is right for you, because it's all part of that freedom that we're bringing in internally and also in our environment with who we're relating to. Don't forget, I'm here for you. Yes, my capacity has not changed because I am only one person, but there are so many ways to connect with me. Your homework is so important. Meditation and your spiritual path and your healing is how you change everything in your life. It's not the actual doing of everything. It's where you come back to yourself. Your meditation practice. Every week I set homework for you. You can, even if you don't like the particular meditation that's been set, do it anyway, because that's telling you something. There's resistance there, or, you know, just do it anyway. Remember, you can save them to your favorites, create a playlist so you can take a break every time I do the introduction and stretch your legs and then go into the next meditation. Add in what you like. You'll have a new healing meditation. The first week of August, I had a spiritual visitor over the weekend, and they have told me that that's what the meditation needs to be about. So I'm going to be recording that with this energy's input and guidance for that particular meditation. So I'll look forward to sharing that with you. Soul ceremony, ascension seeker sessions, personalized meditation, soul magics, mini readings, app memberships. There are so many different ways to connect with me. You need to get your appointments in early, because it is really, we're having to be quite ruthless, because there are so many people waiting and wanting to progress their souls. And Soul 33 it's not over in terms of what you're going to see in the media. So there's more coming. I'm very excited to share what's coming with you, actually, but once it's revealed, you will know. Sending you the energy of growth, sending you the courage to reconnect to your relationship energy, whatever that means to you, sending you the ability to see how a bridge is being built for you to make that space smaller. Because when we victimize ourselves, we're creating this big space. This is happening to me. When something's happening to you, it's happening to all of us. That's how we're all connected. A loss is bridging the space to grow. A loss is bridging the space to grow. I'm here for you. Anyone who's listening to this, you are so on the right path for you. Trust yourself, trust the guidance, and know that this is such an expansive time, regardless of whatever is going on. I'll be in touch soon. Bye.